Hi, I'm Lanisha Robinson, your host for Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. Working in St. Lucie Public Schools with the Career and Technical Education CTE department, we want to show what our teachers and students are doing in the classroom to close the skills gap in multiple fields. The students in these programs are earning industry certifications, which create more opportunities and options for all our students at their high school graduation. In this upcoming episode, you will meet Dr. Bishwam from Fort Pierce Central High School and learn more about the Aeronautical Technologies program with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in St. Lucie Public Schools. Okay, so welcome to the show. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us here this morning. My name is Dr. Bishwam with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And I'm currently on the Fort Pierce campus in the Aeronautical Science program.
All right, thank you.
I'm Nicholas Brick. I am a senior at Fort Pierce Central, and I am a student in the Aerospace program, which he teaches.
All right.
My name is Angel Rodriguez. I am also a senior in the Aerospace program at Central.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Dr. B, working in aerospace, coming from the industry, can you enlighten us about what is your background prior to teaching?
Okay, well, prior to teaching, I worked for 31 years with Boeing. And 25 of those 31 years I spent at the Kennedy Space Center working on the International Space Station program. After the space station was on orbit and the shuttle program came to an end, I took a transfer to Seattle, and I worked up there in production engineering. Most of my career, again, those 31 years with Boeing, 25 were spent in management and senior level management, primarily in production engineering arenas, right? So after, again, I spent about 7 years or so in Seattle working on the large aircraft, the commercial aircraft. And after that, I retired about 3 years ago. And a couple of months after retirement, Boeing called me back to work in Jacksonville, to lead and manage a production engineering team in Jacksonville. Okay. And that was a lot of fun. And I retired again from that activity. I also have a military background. I spent 25 years in the military, 8 years active duty, 17 in the reserves. I was an avionics person in the military. And then to satisfy the entrepreneurial spirit in me, I was also, I ran a real estate company for a few years, right? So I'm a licensed real estate broker also.
Okay,
right?
wow. So, yeah. So you're basically coming from with a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information to actually share with your students. Do you all find that very interesting, having basically your own professor at the high school level, having all that experience?
Yes, definitely.
Does he ever share any stories with you all? And you're like, wow.
Yeah, he does. He shares a lot of his knowledge, and that's the great thing about him. He's not like, I'm not going to tell you anything. He's like, hey, I've done well. I'm going to help you do well in your life. He'll share his knowledge and whatever he's learned from all these years of, well, all that, he's more than happy to share with us.
Okay. So with Aerospace Technologies, what exactly is Aerospace Technologies for our viewing audience who really maybe doesn't have that much information on or that much knowledge? What can you share with us exactly? What is Aerospace Technologies at Fort Pierce Central High School?
Well, we have a wealth of courses relative to aerospace technologies and aeronautical science in general. One of the first courses we teach is something called the Principles of Aeronautical Science, which covers things like aerodynamics and meteorology, and some of the other aspects, if you will, of aircraft operations and also the aircraft business in general. We also have courses, Introduction to Management, for example. That's also taught under the umbrella. And we have Private Pilots Operations, which is a course that we actually have in progress now.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, and then there are a wealth of others associated with aviation and aeronautical science. Drones, of course, big deal. We spend a lot of time. We have about 4 different courses associated with drones, drone operations, and drone security, and introduction to unmanned aircraft systems. We have a certification program when the students get finished with one of the intro type courses. They get a certificate showing that they are, versed in drone operations and drone safety.
And why is that important for you all as students? Why is that important to have that at the high school level?
Well, especially like us getting ready to go into the real world, it really helps having a lot of things like in your back pocket. So being able to have these types of certifications, for example, the safety certification, and also eventually we're going to try and work on our Part 107 certifications. So we should actually work for people right out of high school with our drone pilot's licenses.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with drones. It's not just the aerospace industry that uses them. Everyone is using drones now. There's law enforcement, there's the Coast Guard, real estate. I mean, lots of people are using stuff. I mean, Amazon is going to be delivering packages with drones. So this isn't just aerospace stuff we're talking about. You can go into almost any field and they will be using these drones in the next few years. And having your certificate to be able to fly commercially means that you can get a good paying job right out of high school, even if you don't go straight into college.
That's excellent. You're making an excellent point because that way you're actually creating career opportunities.
Absolutely.
And then basically that pipeline of either post-secondary option or the career option. So that's amazing, amazing. So what can we expect on as a typical school day for you all? What can we expect to see if we were to walk in your classroom?
Typical day.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah, show up in the morning. Professor goes, he tells us what we're going to do during class after the announcements are done. We have a slideshow, usually look through a PowerPoint, and that's what we do. We hit products like that. And then usually we separate towards the end of class into our groups of projects that we've been working on. But I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in a normal day, for every student it's different because we all have, the Embry-Riddle class is a class at Fort Pierce Central High School, but basically every student who does this program is also dual enrolled. So my only class at Central is the aerospace class. The rest of my classes are at the college. So every other day I have to come to high school. And then Monday and Wednesday I have to go to IRSC. So my day is going to look different from his day because he has his college classes scheduled different from me. So a normal day is different every day. But a normal day in his class, like for instance, just last class, we flew 3 different drones in one class.
Wow.
And it's a really fun experience. It's also very helpful because you're learning how to fly the drones and you're having fun at the same time.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. We're now going to show you a brief video that was actually prepared by Mr. Newton and his students at St. Lucie West Centennial High School. It was created by Aiden Medina, Alexander Yates, Jordan Rowe, and Events Elisan. Okay, so Angel and Nicholas, I understand that you all do a lot of hands-on experience, as you mentioned before. What can we expect in the different courses? Like, for example, Dr. B mentioned there's various courses you all will take, but what course is that you were in this year? Can you explain what you're in this year?
You could go ahead. I'll talk about the pilots one. So.
All right, so this year, the past few years, we've been focusing primarily on the drones because not only, like we said, it's a very growing business right now. Drones are going to be used in everything, and they pay well, and it's a very good educational opportunity for us to be able to do this. We can't pave an airstrip behind the high school, but we can fly these, and we do. So the past 2 or 3 courses I've taken have been primarily focused on the safety, the security, and the operations of these drones. It's a mixture of actually flying and then the bookwork that goes along with it, because most people don't know that there's laws and regulations about these things. Most people say, oh, I'm going to go to the toy store, I'm going to buy a drone, I'm going to check it up in the backyard and fly it. That's not necessarily how it works, and that might not always be legal. So learning all of that is a part of this, and you have to know that before you can get your hands on the controls of these.
Okay.
Once we know that, we're able to go out and fly these regularly during class. You know, that's what we do.
All right.
And it's a really, really fun experience. It's especially when the first time someone sees like the video from this, you can always see their eyes light up when they look over your shoulder and they get a whole new perspective on it. Because like, we fly over the high school quite a bit for a number of reasons. He'll go into that. But whenever someone sees that video, it's like, yes, it's their high school and they go there every day, but their eyes light up as soon as they see it from the perspective of a bird. It's incredible to see what happens.
Okay.
Other courses right now, we have the private pilots ground course, which is something else we've been working on. We work out of a Gleam handbook, which is like basically a preparatory book for the course. That's one of the other classes. There's business, which I took last year, as well as taking the other AS 120 class. So just there's a bunch of different options, because a lot of people think that you go here and you're just going to be focusing on like one path of classes, but that could be further from the truth. Like I've taken meteorology, I've taken business, I've taken like unmanned aircraft systems. So there's a plethora of different courses you can take depending on what you want to do and what part of the industry you want to go to.
Okay. So Dr. B, can you explain the connection between Embry-Riddle University, or Aeronautical University, and St. Lucie Public Schools?
Oh, absolutely. So there's referred to the dual enrollment program before. So the students that are taking the Embry-Riddle classes, they're getting in college credit, right? They get 3 credits per class. Each course is worth about $4,000, right? So over the lifetime, so to speak, right, in school, which is, let's say, about the savings at college will be about $48,000, right? We're taking the courses in high school. That's probably about the max that they can get, which is absolutely fantastic. That's money that does not need to be spent, right? But when they do go to college, all the credits that the students earn at the high school level are transferable to Embry-Riddle and transferable to any college, right, that they should go to, right? So that's a tremendous benefit again, not only to the students, but of course to the parents, because it's a fantastic savings, right, in monies. Right?
And how many college credits are they able to earn once they leave and complete your program?
Well, overall, they can earn, let's say, 6 credits per semester, right? And that's 12, 24, about 48. Total, after they take 2 a semester, every semester beginning at the 10th grade.
Okay.
Right, and they can do that, right?
Okay.
So,
You want to add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just ERAU, which we get the credits from. We also do dual enrollment. So we're dual enrolled in ERAU, but we're also dual enrolled into IRSC. So that's 2 different colleges. He's just talking about the Embry-Riddle credits. I don't know the exact numbers, but I have a lot of IRSC credits too. So I'm going to be graduating with an AA degree here in a little bit. So his credits are only a small portion of all the credits we have. And so he said we saved $48,000 just from that program, and his is a small part of all the credits we have. It's a really good opportunity to do the dual enrollment program.
Okay.
So based on what he was saying, like we could actually graduate with 128 hours, which is well past the bachelor's degree.
Right.
So, like, if people just take the courses and they actually take advantage of the opportunity that they have. For example, that's something I've done. Like, I've been on all the classes that they've offered, I've taken. But like, if you genuinely take advantage of the opportunity, especially given that we have IRSC and Embry-Riddle at our disposal, plus AP courses that we can still take at Central, it's such a great opportunity especially for people that don't think they're gonna have enough money to go to college, because where there's a will, there's a way, and that's the way.
All right. So. Good point. Excellent points. So, can you explain to us any opportunities that you offer your students to actually have the opportunity to go off campus like any field trips that you all do during the year?
No, absolutely, and that's a big deal, right? Because we want the students to have as much real life, right, opportunities as possible. So we try to arrange field trips. For example, last year we went over to transferable structures, right, and the students got a chance to go into the production areas and speak to the production engineering manager over there. And we also bring people in, right? As I mentioned before, I worked at Kennedy Space Center for 21 years, so I still have all my contacts up there, right? So I invite those folks to the classroom. Just a few weeks ago, we had the director of the Research and Technology department from NASA, and he came in and he spent some time with the students and explained what was going on at NASA, shared his background and the initiatives that are happening at Kennedy Space Center. We also invited folks from Boeing. My old boss from Boeing, I invite him, and he likes to come over, and that just happened last week. He came in and he talked about the autonomous side of the house. He's the chief engineer of autonomous systems for Boeing, right? So my objective in these classes is to keep it as real as possible, right? Again, giving the kids that exposure to what they're going to receive, what they're going to face when they get into the outside world, right? And there are other engineers also that I've brought in from Boeing, right, to speak to the students, again, to share real life experiences, right?
So as students, what are your perspectives or what are your thoughts on having these individuals directly from the industry coming into your classroom and for you all to actually be able to go visit them in the real world?
Networking. Networking is the biggest word, and that's why, honestly, we're all really blessed to have Dr. Biz Pham as our professor, because he not only gives us the opportunity to learn all these things that we need to go into the industry, but he helps us get our feet in the door, right? For example. So we've worked with a bunch of different companies and like spoken to people from a bunch of these different companies, and it just really helps you, you know, build that network. So hey, put a name to a face. This kid, he gets out of high school, he gets out of college, he's prepped. They already know what they're getting.
Excellent point. Excellent point. You want to add to that?
I mean, I was just gonna say that you were asking about field trips, but for me, the most helpful part is when he brings the field to us, which is what we were saying about all of his contacts that come in and talk to us. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the word internship in this class. You get to know these people and you get an idea in your head what to expect when you go out into the real world of all this business. And it's really helpful and really insightful to have in your mind an idea of what you're going to do so that when you're taking these classes, you know, all right, I'm going to need to know this.
Right.
Or, all right, I'm going to need to take this class. It's very, very helpful.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So Nick, he touched on internships, and I'm huge on internships because for me as a manager, senior level manager for Boeing, I've hired a lot of interns because I bring interns in over the summer and I get to check them out. You know, I see what they're all about for the time that they're, you know, with me. So when I have an opening, right, for a job, I am calling my interns, right, and asking about their availability. I've hired many interns over my 25-year career as a manager for Boeing, and all of them have worked out extremely well. Extremely, it's a whole lot better to hire an intern than to hire someone that I evaluated from a resume and a 1-hour interview. Right? I hire an intern. I know that person. I've watched them over the summer. So yeah, I talk internships quite a bit in the classroom. Yep.
So with you all doing the internships and having that knowledge, you all kind of hit upon some industry certification that you're earning at the high school level. Can you, first of all, discuss the internship, because you mentioned internships, but students are actually able to earn these industry certifications to be able to apply for these internships. So what certifications are you offering at the high school level?
Oh, right now we have the pilot operations, private pilot operations class. That's a certification. And then we also have the unmanned aircraft systems safety certification. We're going to ramp it up a little bit more. Right, we're going to be looking at the Part 107, right, that Angel mentioned earlier, right, and all these certifications allow students to leave high school, and if they're not really ready to go into college, they can go straight into industry, and make good money. Starting salaries in the drone world, about $50,000 or $60,000 a year to start. These students are going to be ready to undertake those tasks, those jobs when they get out.
Okay.
Right?
So how would you all as students want to use those energy certifications? What are your plans on it?
Considering how we all, well, Nick and I for sure, we definitely want to go, and keep pursuing our education. It's a side hustle, to be honest, to be quite honest with you. So we can still focus on our studies, and if we want to do a work study program, we can also do a work study program. But who's to say you can't go out on the weekends and film someone's wedding? It's an easy $500. You film a couple hours and that's it. So there's a bunch of different ways you can make your money, especially using these certifications that you don't actually have to go out of your way for too much.
Okay.
So it's more of a flexible, you're your own boss kind of situation.
Okay.
I mean, these drones, they're expensive, but you can easily make that money back. And like you were saying, as a side hustle, in college, any money helps. And I plan on going to Embry-Riddle up there. And so, like you were saying, I can go out, take some photographs, make a good amount of money in a matter of hours, and I can use that money for whatever I need it for.
Okay.
And I'm not making $50,000 a year because I'm not doing it full time, but I'm still making some nice money that I'd like to have.
Okay. So you all have been mentioning the drones. Can you go ahead and show us or discuss what exactly are we seeing right here?
Okay, so what you're looking at here is the Phantom 4. And we use this drone quite extensively. That's our workhorse, so to speak. We fly it around the campus. We use it in our security program that we're going to talk about here in a bit. So this drone, we have some others also. I just brought along these two. This one is called a Pirate Disco. This drone, as you can see, is different from this one. This one doesn't hover, right? So it takes a little bit more to fly this bird manually. There's a way that we can fly it autonomously, where we load up the flight path that we want it to fly, and it would actually, we just toss it in the air, and it would fly that path for us and come back and land where we tell it to land. Right? This thing over here, that's called the FPV, the first person view. And what that does, that puts you in the cockpit, if you will, of this aircraft, right? So as you're flying around, it's like you're in the aircraft and you can see the same thing the aircraft is seeing, right? And as I mentioned before, we have other birds. We have one that we call the Inspire. That's not here. It's a little bit bigger bird. Can handle a little bit more wind, if you will, than this one. And we also have one that's called a Mavic, which is a little bit smaller bird, but that's a fun bird to fly.
Yeah, it's my favorite, probably.
Okay. So you mentioned the security initiative that you all are doing. You want to go ahead and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me let the lead of that project talk first, right?
Okay. So
Angel is the lead for the security project. So go ahead, Angel.
So right now, obviously this is a big issue. Safety in schools, especially pertaining to gun safety in schools, has been the topic of discussion for the past few years. We actually feel like there's something we can do about it, and it's time to act. The time to act is now. If you just keep waiting for someone to do it, there's, having all the opportunity to do so, you might as well do it. Right now, what we've been doing a lot, we do this weekly. We go up, we have our designated flight team. So I'm a lead, and then I have a pilot in command. And then there's visual observers, which are VOs that are planted around the school to make sure that the drone's safe, there's no birds. Nick will get into that in a second.
Maybe not.
But that there's no obstacles and things like that. So what we do is we go up and we fly, usually in the mornings, and we just take video of the whole school. So what we do is we upload all that video, and we just look for abnormalities in the video. So, for example, a gate's open, there's a bag or something on top of the school, right? That's what these safety measures are actually helping us with, because if someone really wants to coordinate an attack or something like that, they're going to go through the planning. So we could really help, nip it in the bud before it strikes. Right now, we're working on more of a long-term project. So we're working with, our biggest, help right now is a company called Aerospace. They're our partner for the most part, yeah. So they've been really helping us get through putting up an aerostat at school.
Okay.
So I'm not going to get too much into detail, but we're just going to use that and probably a few sensors and things of that nature to help detect things before they happen.
Okay. But with that being said, you all are actually collaborating with local agencies with that project?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we're going out. We have partnered, so to speak, with other companies in an effort to get them to help us achieve our objective. With school security, a lot of what's already available, it's good, but a lot of it is reactive, if you will, in nature. Something happens, then everybody gets engaged. We are focused on a more proactive approach to school security. We want to identify, so to speak, the perpetrator before they do anything. Right? So our emphasis is there. Angel mentioned Aeronide. That's a drone company out of Melbourne. We've partnered with them. And they also partnered with other companies, for example, IBM, and they're going to use some of their technology to help us achieve our objective. Some things that we're trying to do, recognition, behavioral analysis, for example. If somebody's doing something that's not quite right, right, we want the aircraft to be able to say, hey, that does not look right. Let's go check it out.
So basically, you're encouraging your students to think outside that box. I know I've visited your classroom before,
and you see them
that
all
is
later.
exactly.
Yeah.
So for our viewing audience who has an interest in this program, what do they need to do regarding the application process?
Okay, so we're trying to increase the number of students that are admitted to the program. Right now, only about 50 students per year are admitted. Right, and we get a lot more than 50 that apply. Normally, the application process, I believe it starts in November. There's an attractor night that's coming up in November, where you'll hear a lot more about the program. And from that attractor night, we get probably a couple of hundred folks that applied. Again, the school is limited right now to 50. Our principal, she wants to take that up at least 60, 70, maybe even double that, right? But you have to apply formally to the program, and then once you're admitted, you come in the 9th grade. There's a preliminary class, right, an introductory class that's provided in the 9th grade, and then once you get into the 10th grade, then you jump on the Embry Riddle's bandwagon, so to speak, and start taking the classes that I just mentioned. Right?
So as we prepare to close, is there anything that you'd like to add as to why this program is vital to not only career and technical education, but to our community?
Thinking outside of the box is huge, and being able to be ready for the outside world, right, is also huge, right? So that's what we bring to the table, right? The instructors here at this campus and other Embry Riddle schools, they are experienced instructors, right? There's a person that we're working right now. He's a private pilot and he's an educator, right? So he has years of experience, right, that he's bringing to the table, right? Just like I am. Right, so the objective again is to prepare the students when they walk out the door. They have a really good idea of what they're walking into, and not only that, they're prepared for it.
Gotcha.
They are prepared for it. So that's where we're going.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us. All right.
All right.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm Lanisha Robinson, and this is Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. We encourage you to view our St. Lucie Public Schools Career and Technical Education page. In Career and Technical Education, we are merging the career pathways pipeline for each of our students. We are building a future and continuing to close the skills gap. On behalf of the station's team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.